didn't see my head. Is it on now?
Thank you for coming. Very nice, very nice. All right, hit it. Here we go. So, what has happened since 2010? A lot of you look up here and go, I have no idea really what all of those mean, but we've been through a whole heck of a lot since 2010. EMR or EHR is exactly the same thing. Then we had to do meaningful use to prove that we knew how to use our EHR. Then we had to do PQRS that a lot of you didn't even know about because we tried to keep it behind the scenes so we wouldn't bother you with it too much. Then we started doing these MVP assessments and Optum assessments, and then there's HCC scorecards, all these pieces of paper flying around. Why are we doing all this stuff? We're trying to create quality. This is crazy. Everybody wants different things. Then we got involved in FLHSA because we had a CMMI grant. Then we became part of the AHP network that got us involved in Press Ganey and Arcadia. And you haven't even seen a lot of that, but you now and then see evidence of it hanging up on our walls. And then there's PCMH that NCQA wanted us to do. But no, AHP really wanted us to do it too. So it's all a different language, and I'm sorry, but I'm here to try to help you understand what you really need to know about all of this stuff. Again, I try to simplify it, get right to the root cause, root effect, what you need to know, rather than trying to give you that whole crazy overview. And then in the future, it's MIPS and macro. And the hope is MIPS and macro will roll all of that prior stuff into one thing. So we don't have to keep doing so many different things to prove that we are good doctors, right? That's why we end up having to do so much of this stuff. Go ahead. So today, I'm primarily going to focus on PCMH because it's really hitting a crescendo right now. Mostly because of this date. My goal, our goal, is to submit our final certification for at the end of July. So that's kind of a hard stop. And how close are we? Well, what are we really doing with PCMH? PCMH is interesting in that it's two separate submissions. There's a first submission that it's a corporate submission. So yeah, they're calling our office kind of a corporation. Why is that? Because across practices, we share a lot of things. We share the same EMR system. We share a lot of the processes and procedures. No, not exactly, but generally, yes, we share a lot of things. So as a result, we get to share in points. It's a points-based system. Our goal is 100 points would be perfect. So we have just recently submitted for the corporate application just about 2 weeks ago. And for the corporate application, there was a maximum of 65.5 points. NCQA is looking at the documentation that we sent to try to determine how much of that 65.5 we get credit for. But once it says, okay, maybe you get 62, and that's what I'm assuming with this example graph, maybe they say it's 62 points, then all of us, all practices get 62%. Now after that, there's this second submission, and it's called a practice level submission. So it's each individual practice, I'm providing data and proof again that we know what we're doing, and each practice will get their own, go ahead. Get their own points for their practice level that will be added to your base so that the very top of the line will hopefully be above this 85% level. Anything between 85% and 100% qualifies as a level 3 PCMH location. There is also level 2 and level 1. Those are not as good. You don't want that. We want 3. How confident am I? I'm pretty confident. we have about a month to really finish up. So we have an opportunity to get it just right. So now's the time to take advantage of that opportunity. Just to give you another view, and this is more of a scary view, those are all the different elements and factors that we've been working on, whether you knew it or not. If you look up there, you'll recognize a few things that I may have bothered you about, like referral tracking that everybody hates, right? There's all sorts of different things in there that we've gone through, and that's the short form. This has been my Bible for the past 2.5 years, trying to get this right. And now we're almost done. And again, 65.5% is done. We've got 34.5 to go. Of that 34.5, a significant portion of it has to do with the chart review that we have to do. And we do that ourselves. Nobody is coming in from somewhere else. We have to, and we will be, Susan and I, will be going through care management patient charts. Not all charts, but it's specifically our care management charts to make sure that we've treated our care management patient just right. To do that, it's kind of a, whoa.
There you go, throwing your Bible around.
Throwing my
again.
Bible around. It's kind of a interesting process in that NCQA doesn't want us to start at the top of our care management list and choose the cream of the crop that is right on the top of Susan's list of, oh, we're going to see this person, this person, this person, we're just going to do these really good charts. They want it randomized so that you're not cheating, essentially. So what they're saying is choose a date and time, and that date will actually be in the future, June 30th. We're going to look at the appointments on that date and say who of those people are care management people, and choose their chart and start doing the review. And then go back a day, who are the care management patients, and then continue on back. So there's no way we could have organized this to make it just right, except we're talking today to try to get a little organized,
Yeah.
right? For each care management patient, we're not just looking at the note of the day. We can look throughout their entire chart, and we can look back 14 months. So if we have, for instance, a really short visit today that doesn't quite cover all of the elements that we needed to cover, we can look back at their prior appointment, at a face-to-face appointment that Susan had with them, and so on. There's a lot of different places that we can go look. But it's 21 factors in every chart. It'll take a little while. We've been working with a consultant that helps us through all of this. So this is a spreadsheet that the consultant has given us. This is only a part of it, but just to give you a feel for what we're going to have to do is on the left-hand side, it's 1 to 30. So for every practice, we have to do 30 charts. So we have 150 charts to review. If you look across, there's all the different elements. And again, there's only about 10 here, but there are 21 total. It doesn't mean that we have to go across and say yes in every single category for each patient. We can be yes on some, no on others, and it's just as long as we add it all up and beat the measure. And what's the goal on every measure? Some of them are 50%, some of them are 80%, some of them are 75%. It just depends on the measure. So, who are our care management patients?
Who's that guy?
Can you tell me?
Looks familiar.
Who are they?
He's a cutie.
Yeah.
Transgender.
Yeah.
Are we not just care management or
What's the birth sex?
ICM? Are they two separate?
We have talked about intensive care managed patients, but we're talking about care managed patients across the board. Does anybody know the definition of a care management patient? You probably don't. There's probably only 3 people in here that really know.
I mean,
Because we've talked about it, changed criteria now and then. But let me go through and give you that general view. PCMH said you need to define care management patients within 4 separate areas. The first is a behavioral health issue. Choose a group of people that have a behavioral health problem, and that's your first group of people that you want to be focusing on. Next, a high utilization group. They're expensive. They're overusing the system. Next, poorly controlled or complex conditions. What's our favorite one?
Diabetes.
Here we go. The next one, a social determinant of health. Something societal based that might affect how they care for themselves one way or another. And lastly, the referrals. Anybody can refer. All of the doctors refer people to Susan, even staff members, patients themselves, caregivers, all of that. So there's a variety of ways to become a care management patient. Does Susan take care of all of these?
no.
No. It's a shared responsibility. Yes, Susan here is to help, but each practice team works together to help these people. Go ahead. So who are they and how many are there? And can you see? Yeah. Okay, I just want to be sure. So this is one of my spreadsheets that we most recently went through, but just to give you an idea of totals. So first I'll note this column. The denominator is all the patients that are attributed to all 5 practices together. We care for 6,300 people, says Arcadia. So based on each factor for behavioral health, we chose diabetic patients that also have a diagnosis of depression. So it's really depression that is the behavioral health issue, but we didn't want to choose everybody who has depression because that would be even more patients. But it's rather reasonable to have 137 people to work on in that section. Next, high utilization. We chose patients with 2 or more ED visits within a quarter during the last year. So somebody's going to the ED multiple times. In some cases, it's absolutely necessary. In other cases, they could have made better choices. Third, poorly controlled condition. You all know this well. Diabetic patients with an A1C over 8, or somebody who hasn't had their A1C done in the last year. Social determinant of health. We actually chose 2, and that was because I was waffling a little bit. But we started thinking about what are the patients that Susan really is helping, and a lot of it is the transition of care for a patient to a new living situation. Yeah, there's standard transitions of care, but it's the harder ones when they're leaving the hospital and they can't go home anymore, or they have to go home with extra help and we have to help them identify that help, or oh no, they really need to go to assisted living now. In there we also threw in patients who are covered by Medicaid or Medicaid managed care, because that identifies probably a financial challenge for them, and that financial challenge may also trickle over into their health care based on the choices that they're making. And then there's the referrals, and we're still working on these numbers. I didn't have the most recent update. Every day we seem to be working on these numbers, but there's just a handful of those, but I think there are even more than are listed right here. So,
Pending Susan's query.
yes, pending Susan's query. So, believe it or not, we have 648 care management people, which happens to be just over 10% of our patient population. I think that's reasonable. I might like it to be a little bit less than that, but for now, I'm okay with that, because that gives us opportunity. Go ahead and make the next one. So if we have 648 care management patients, between now and the end of June, we are going to see on the order of 834 patients. As of last night, when I ran a report, that's how many patients we had scheduled. Of those 834 patients, how many might actually be care management patients? Because if we see them one more time before our deadline, we have a chance to clean up and make sure that we have each one of those factors covered. So this is our little challenge over the next 3 to 4 weeks. How many are actually scheduled? How do I find them? How do I tell you that they're there? How do you find the time to clean up their charts? And how do we then go back and check and kind of do a quick chart review, or maybe we even start doing reviews right now? That's our challenge. Go ahead. So here's the question. Are we going to see actually all 30 patients that we need in June? Probably not. I don't think so. Maybe. I have no idea, but I kind of don't think so. But the more we catch, the better we are in lining up for our PCMH requirements. So here's what I'm proposing. And this is mostly involving clinical staff and back staff. So with Jamie's help and Susan's help, the three of us can one way or another on a daily basis run a report that identifies who's coming in tomorrow based on your appointment schedules and cross-check it with that list of 648 care management patients. And we can identify those care management patients for you. Then, because all of you have done your pre-visit planning, the note is already open. We just go in and add CM to the header. I thought about putting pop-ups in, I thought putting messages in the appointments, thought about all these other things, but I think this is the way to go. It's streamlined, you can see it, and we go from there. You can even talk about it in your huddles. If you bring up the pre-visit planning account and take a look at it, you can see where all your CM patients are. And then, once the note is complete, we've also talked about this, about is it best if the provider just transfers that note to somewhere else? No, I really don't want to. I want you to continue to do what you normally do, sign off the note. We have the list in the back of who the care management patients are, and we'll go look at the end of the day to check on things. If we need you to unsign the note and go add something to it, we still have a chance to do that. Sound reasonable? So this is that same list without all the numbers. I think it's important that all of you become very familiar with this list, because you'll be able to, it'll trigger your thought process too when you come across somebody who, for instance, is a same day appointment. We had no chance of putting a CM at the top, but now you have the opportunity to check. And if ever you need to just check with us to say, hey, wait a second, this is the same day, Andrea, can you check and see if it's a care management patient?
Don't
Yep,
some of our
we can do that.
patients still have it in their diagnosis list?
The patients that have it in their diagnosis list are the Medicaid and Medicaid managed care people.
Okay.
So yes, they do.
It's an ICD-9 code, though.
It is an ICD-9 code.
Right, we can never change it, but
Right.
it's still
But
triggered.
it's still there, and it's still a little bit helpful, and that's why I kind of didn't want to take it off the list because then it would conflict and I'd have to go take off all of those diagnoses of the 230 whatever that are there.
We can't just get a list of these people
For practice?
like to have, just in, so then we don't have to come to you and be like, is this patient?
That's a great idea. You got
Yeah,
that,
we just
Jane?
have a list.
I'm on it.
Okay. Yes, we'll give you an alphabetized list of who they are.
I think that's lovely.
Okay? But I will print this and give each and every one of you this short and sweet version of it. That's really it on PCMH. That's the key things, stuff that I wanted to cover. I also, for the clinical people, will be handing out a hit list for here are the things that I think are either missing or possibly missing out of your chart. So you can kind of go down and say, and do a checklist per patient to just make sure. Diego already has the list, yes.
What if I see George's patient during the month as a same-day visit? Am I obligated to do this on a cross-cover patient?
Probably not. Probably not. You're so thorough anyway, it probably still works out in the end.
what do you want?
Yeah, but yes, it's true, George and I are gonna be gone for a week of this time period.
Right.
So there is that possibility.
Why would we not do it though?
Yeah, that's my question.
Why would we not
Makes
do
sense
it?
to do it.
Yeah,
Same thing for our nurses.
the
covering
question
another
is, how many patients per day are there gonna be?
I mean, you're talking about one or two. I mean,
Per
cross
practice, right?
No, what-
well, yeah.
what-
But for 30 patients, that's a big number. I mean, 1 or 2 out of 30.
No, he wants the two people there for his 30 charts.
Right.
So I would say we should do it when he's gone.
We'll do it for each other, okay.
Yeah, I think we should do it for each other for that month. Yeah, especially that month.
Why was that
Absolutely.
on that data point, right? I mean, I would.
Because
I would do it.
he's not here for 7 days.
No, I mean, I'm
He
just- that's
needs the 30
rhetorical,
people.
Right, I would wanna do it for
Right.
people if they need it and vice
Right.
versa, so.
Right.
I would think the same holds true for a nurse who's covering for another nurse too. You would.
Try to just get it done.
Yeah.
If you CC him, try to get it done.
Andrea, can you tell a little bit about what happens if we don't hit that mark?
If we don't hit the 85%.
So what
overall
happens
mark.
if we do our audit and the audit fails?
I'm not talking about
Come
that.
on now.
Well, what happens if we're a 2 as opposed to a 3 or a 1 opposed to a 2?
Well, I just want it,
Not that that's
we
gonna
put
happen.
so
There's no
much
option for
work
two.
into it, it's that we don't wanna have to do it again, and if we fail, we have to do it
Well, what
again.
happens on the other side? Even if we're a level 3, what happens on the other side?
Well, yeah, that's what was my question. What happens on July 30th, after July 30th? What does this all mean?
All that we're working towards right now is a submission. It does not mean that PCMH goes away. We live with
It's never gonna go away, you gotta know
PCMH
that.
forever and ever, theoretically, until they change the certification
To
requirement.
NCP.
Is there a pill for that?
Let's hope
Is there an ICP test for that?
So it's, then we go back to looking through all of the documented processes that we have identified to make sure that we are fulfilling everything that we said we normally are supposed to fulfill for PCMH. So it still goes on, it's just that we won't have a looming chart review to do.
I think what Kayla's asking is what's the, get me if I'm wrong, what's the application? Why do we want this? Is that what you're
Yeah,
asking?
like what is the point of
So
doing all
down the
this?
road, you're going to get paid for Medicare based on your certification. So the goal is that in order to get the full criteria, and that's in one of these other little memos that was up, one of these acronyms. So you're going to have to get these qualified pieces in place to be able to pay at full to get your full reimbursement as opposed to being nicked.
Okay.
So a level 3 gets it reimbursed more than a
At a
level
higher
2,
rate, yes,
more than a level 1.
that is correct.
Or you're not deducted, or you're not
Or you're not
Yeah.
penalized.
penalized. Okay.
If you don't
Right.
do this, then they start penalizing you.
Right.
Now, the 21 things that are listed in the chart that we're supposed to be looking at and filling out, can we have a list of that as well?
Yes, I will give you 2 lists. I will give you the long list that is color-coded that I gave to the providers this morning. That's a little bit overwhelming when you look at it, but the color coding allows you to say, oh, we're pretty good here, so I'm comfortable with that. And you'll be able to read through it and go, yeah, we do that, and we do that all the time. But oh, there's some purple ones that, yeah, maybe we're not perfect on, and there's some red ones that, oh my God, yeah, we definitely don't do that. Maybe we could do that on these next few patients, and then even continuing on in the future as we continue. So yes, I'll get you the long list, and then I have the hit list, the short list of, you can use it to, have it right in front of you, and as you're going down, doing your pre-visit planning, is there anything that you can add to help get things done? Great question. Any other questions? We're really close. Really, really close. Susan and I just had a call with the consultants this morning. They too were getting excited for us that we're really, really close. So
This is really a huge deal. There are very few offices that get a level 3, and it's a lot of work to do it, and we have a lot to be proud of, and this is a way to highlight that.
Are we gonna have a party after?
Yeah.
yes, at Dr. Manella's house.
Yes.
No.
Party, yeah.
You betcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
With the wildebeest you're bringing back from Africa?
Yeah, oh.
You're bringing animals back?
Well, they won't be alive, so that's not a good
You're bringing dead animals back?
Gotta have a wildebeest.
Hide in the
Thinking of
suitcase.
putting,
Except for
picture of a
Dr.
lion.
She can't.
No.
I'll pass on it.
Okay, just a couple things, and this was actually, it's briefer than I thought it was going to be, so that's even better. Just a couple things about office policy reminders. We have friendships among employees, which is a wonderful thing. I love that about this office because it is like a family. But we do have employees that are patients here. So, this is just a reminder to maintain that professionalism all the time. If you're caring for a friend as a patient, you need to be sure that you're maintaining the same standards as you do with every other patient. And lastly, safety and privacy has to always be maintained. So, just a reminder. We all need to be reminded now. Because things can get informal, and you gotta be careful about that. Keep it high level and professional too. But it's okay to love each other. I'm good with that. And then next, kind of going along with that, I love a particular person in this room. Just a reminder about pharmaceutical samples. Go ahead. They're here to be distributed to the patients per the provider's orders, right? It's not okay to go up and have at it, especially, it's totally wrong with a prescription medication. You can't just walk up to a cabinet and take something for yourself.
But we can we don't have to check for patients. I'm confused.
If you're using it yourself,
Oh, gotcha.
This is just.
if you're self-administering the samples, you have to check, go ahead. You have to check with your supervising doctor, or if there is a doctor in the office that is your in-house PCP,
Right.
you have to go to them. Okay?
How about the over-the-counter
Just
ones?
around.
Like ibuprofen?
Doctors, what do you think about the over-the-counter?
Like a leave or Tylenol.
Do we even have, well, we do have a.
We have a leave.
We have
Yeah.
Tylenol.
Maybe aspirin, we have
Yeah.
tons of
Miralax.
Actually, all the Miralax is gone, it was expired, I threw it out.
No, but I'll take it.
Oh, I'm constipated now.
We all, I think, use a leave.
I was gonna say, I do go.
I take a leave.
I do.
I think the OTC
I think over the counter is fine.
is a benefit.
Yeah, I think over the counter is fine.
That is the prescription medications that are concerned. Okay. And lastly, just a thought-provoking few items about discussions in the office. Go ahead. I just want you to sometimes stop and think before something comes out of your mouth. Because there have been a few issues rather recently that have been kind of uncomfortable. But if you had stopped and thought, is what I'm saying kind? Is it true? Is it necessary to even say this? And is it professional? You may not have said it, and thus prevented a problem from happening. So, this is my motherly tone. Be thoughtful and keep it high level. Again, we're lots of friends in this community, but what?
And people can hear through those.
Exactly.
And some people that aren't here at our meeting, it needs to be told, but they're loud up there, and I can even hear them in my cubby, and some of the conversations not appropriate. Just saying.
Just saying.
Just saying.
And it can be said for not just in that area. It can be heard around the corner. If somebody's complaining or what have you, you just don't know, especially what the patients can hear. You know, they may be in a room and you're right outside and you're talking about Friday night. Wait a, yeah, right? Careful. So, just as a little reminder. Okay? And that's all I have. Any other questions or anything that people want to bring up?
What day is the party at Dr. Manoni's?
I think you did identify.
It's every day, isn't
I
it?
did, I never heard back from
It's
them.
every
I said
day.
for a
Right.
couple of days. Every day is a party, so whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
So for people who aren't here, what is the viewing schedule for the video?
So I will be uploading it to YouTube to make it private, so you have to log into it. And we'll have them be reviewing it, I would say within, 7 days from now would be the goal. So they have the weekend to take a look at it if necessary.
Are you gonna make them watch it while they're here so you know that they actually watch it?
I agree.
People must really need to watch.
I agree. We all had
I
to
think
stay
we're
for
all
this
here.
meeting.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I
I
think they
I
should
can do
be
that.
sat back and made watched. Absolutely.
And that way people have questions and.
Stickler.
Yeah,
people are
right.
ready.
We'll make sure they watch it.
Okay.
Take their eyes to the screen.
Can you bring it up on the cognitive view so they have the wall and nothing else will
Right.
distract them?
Also, so Jamie, how many care management patients do we have tomorrow?
13.
That was really surprising to me. I was expecting more like, 4 or 5 every day, but there are 13. 13 is across all of you. So again, somebody might have 4 and somebody else might have
I was
none,
just gonna
and
say 10 of
so
them are
on.
probably ours.
Yeah.
Okay, that's already on the schedule. That's already.
So you have already put CMs, right?
I have.
Yes.
Except for the charts that weren't prepped, but I'm gonna deal with those in the morning.
So if we identify what I think is a care management patient tomorrow that isn't labeled care management, Joyce, you just want me to keep a list of the patients for the day? Because I identified probably 4 people tomorrow where I had none today.
Put a new CM on them.
Maybe we keep a list
You-
of who.
You're saying if you're gonna identify that to be part of this review,
Right.
you'll put a CM on the title, right? You'll add the CM. No, he's saying if he identifies a new one.
Yeah, we wanna introduce more.
Yeah, because all of you will refer, right? I mean, you could see somebody tomorrow that's not on our list right now,
Right.
that you want follow-up or
Exactly.
some
I already
issue.
told Susan about it.
So we'll just put CM at the top.
And let you guys, and let you and Jamie know that we are adding.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it's
We have
just
to
a
verify
question of
the
how we
criteria.
find out
Right,
like on that list.
about that.
Right.
But then if
Okay.
we do
That's
identify that
you.
they're not on the
That's
list,
you.
then
What?
we
You
still
can
have to tell them.
identify that.
Yeah, we
If
can- yeah.
people are
We just let
referring
them know.
to you
So it can
on
go
a
towards
daily
your record
basis,
review.
an added care management person,
Yes,
we need them added to the list.
yes, ma'am. I'll put a
Right.
CM in their title.
What is wrong?
Well, we can do this.
Well, maybe there's some pages that you don't have to be actively involved with, Susan, right? But yet we just want to add.
Right, there's some care management people that you're not involved with, right?
Yes, that's true. Yes,
But,
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
but we would
Wow,
have to
so
get
agreeable.
them on a list.
Correct, so who do we
So
notify
that-
to, right, to make sure everyone's going to the same, adding to the same list? They're not 5 different lists that are circulating around.
Isn't the title the list? Like doesn't our amazing electronic
Do you have an
system?
idea?
Well, I was gonna
Pick it
say,
up.
because I have a master list of all the criteria, and I have the master list of everybody who's a care management patient, or who could be identified as one. So if you wanted to just send me a note, I could then add them to the list. And I could just open up another sheet and say these were added after this date.
As long as it's the same person.
That's fine.
I mean, I wouldn't mind doing that.
Yeah.
So the denominator is the 648, which is the entire practice, it's not a per practice thing? Like, is it, I have to have this many and Diego has to have a certain percentage, you know what I mean?
For the review, we have to review 30 charts. It doesn't matter if you have a total of 32 care management patients or 120. NCQA, there's no necessary limit to a percentage per practice of each of those 5 items. Am I answering your question?
But I'm still a little confused then, because are we trying to find 30 patients within this month? Because that was what I was confused about last night, or do we go back last month and pick up a couple others?
So if we go through this month with the current list that we have and only tune up 15 charts, then we're forced to go backwards in time looking for other care management patients. And that's okay too. Don't feel forced
Well, that's the question. And
to
then-
create more.
But we can't really go back and alter those charts, or can we?
You can't alter the chart notes necessarily, but you could put, open a summary sheet input and throw in no communication needs identified.
Well, you have 30 days to unsign a note, right?
That's true, that's
So
true.
you could click
But
a
every
little extra
time you
clicks, yeah?
unsign a
No?
note, it's,
Just asking.
a little nebulous.
I would say to you,
But I
you
guess
never,
we should have a pretty good idea if we have the master list and then who's scheduled to see us in the next month. I guess it still would be nice to
So, yeah.
plan it out a little bit more specifically, I guess.
So I think what we'll do, what we decided today was that we were gonna be running the report only looking at tomorrow's list, because tomorrow's list changes so much. But to get some level of comfort, what we can do is run everybody's month of June
and see how
tonight.
many are on there.
And see how many are on there.
Make sure they
Just to give you some comfort
So I
level.
think only maybe
Are you guys to start
5%
calling people
change.
and tell them to come in?
Yeah. Say they
So
have
we
no
haven't
choice.
seen you in a while, you wanna come in for a
Can
follow-up?
Can I make a comment about the charts, unsigning chart notes? Just remember that even if you unsign a chart note, change something, and re-sign it, there is a back system that
Right.
records
Exactly.
everything you do.
Right.
So the chart note is really not, it may look changed in front of you, but what you had before is there.
Right.
So you're not supposed to change chart notes. And even though we can unsign them for 30 days, we really shouldn't be doing something now for May saying, okay, I did this, because you didn't do it.
Right.
Well,
So
but what you can say is that this is an addendum.
that's separate, right? That's a separate issue. But I'm just saying, I wouldn't get people in the habit of signing old chart notes to change something you want changed. Do it the way Andrew said, which is open another note and say, I did this, or I said this, or I wanted this, and not the original note. Because the metadata, so everything is contained behind the scenes in a big vault of information, and that doesn't change, and that's what people look at.
So that's what I go look at if I'm doing an audit on a chart. If you accidentally delete something and forget who it was, you come ask me and I can figure it out based on the metadata that's behind the scenes.
Right.
Right.
So,
And everybody
That makes
can,
sense.
everybody who goes into a chart, you're automatically logged that you were in that chart,
And
right?
the date and time.
So that's the other part of this, which is anytime you go into these records at the hospital here, you go into someone's chart, it's logged in, you're in there, and
Yep.
remember that. Because
Right.
if you're not supposed to be in the chart, don't be in that chart.
that too. So, yes,
other
we'll
than-
run that.
Sorry, other than the PHQ2s for every patient and the already stuff that we're doing, like the clicking off patient annotations, is there anything else that we should be doing in every patient's chart?
No,
Other than like vitals, meds, okay.
no.
PHQ2
I don't want
is
to add
the only,
anything else to a normal patient.
and then the 21 or things or whatever that we're looking at for the care manager patients, just for care manager.
Yes.
Okay.
You might ask, wait, why didn't we have this discussion last year? And we kind of did, by way of changing the template dramatically. Remember that, when we added barriers of care and all those other single-click things? That's exactly why. So that really, again, the thought is we wouldn't even have to do this tune-up. We should be able to be good to go. But because we have an opportunity, let's take advantage and get our level 3. Great questions. Anything else?
I have a question.
Yeah.
As far as the going into charts that you have no business being in. Say we have a patient who needs a referral to a certain type of psychiatrist that deals with a certain kind of thing. And you know that one of Dr. Yoon's patients go there to one of those. And that patient, Dr. Yoon, has been very happy with that care. Would it be wrong for one of Diego's staff to go into that person's chart and get that name for our patient? Or
Just talk to the doctor.
Yeah,
Just ask the
it's
doctor.
better to
That's
go
the-
It's better to go to one of the practice members and ask the question.
and I agree. I just figured it's quicker just to do it yourself.
I know. But honestly, sometimes we don't remember, or, you know, all
But then
we
you'll
just
look at
have
a
it.
patient's charts.
Right,
You'll
right,
look at
right.
the
That's
chart.
happening.
You know, I mean,
Yeah. I would
No, but
not
that's a
go
great
into
question,
that for
because
that
it's like, gosh,
reason.
this is what
because
you're
it's still for the
Just
job,
like testing, I
but
don't
it's
remember
not
what
your
I sent to, but I know
patient.
Yeah,
someone's
nothing to
like,
do
You're
with that
not
patient.
caring for the
Right.
patient that,
Right.
whose
Right.
chart you're going into.
Right.
That's
But it's for your
the
patient.
litmus test.
So I would say you send a note to Dr. Yoon saying, hey, who's that psychiatrist used for such and such problem?
Okay.
That's all you can go into her own patient's chart and look in and say, oh, I use
Right,
Dr. X and tell you.
Right.
So
Okay.
you go into the patient's.
Or
It'd
just
be
ask
okay for
that.
Beth to go into it, right?
Or Beth, yeah.
Yep.
Or even Marissa, because like whoever's covering for that practice.
Yep.
Okay.
That's a good question.
That is
actually.
Yeah.
Because it's just stuff you don't think about, like you don't think you're doing something wrong, but technically
Right, you are. Right, you just have to stop first and think, am I really caring for this patient? Why am I going to the chart? Or wait, I'm not. I'm looking for other information for a different reason.
Phone numbers, so we keep the phone numbers sometimes.
Yeah.
I remember.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thanks,
Thank you very much.
Thanks for all your hard work.
Yeah.
I hope Dr. Plain takes you out for dinner
I
now.
hope he takes you on
Yeah.
a great vacation.
Somewhere fancy.
Yeah, really great vacation would be nice.
I hope he takes you to different continents.
I know, I hope
Different
he
continents.
takes you on an African safari.
Hope he kills an animal for you.
It's getting worse and worse.
You're going on safari, right?
I hope you bring 2 tusks back with you. Ivory.
Ivory, right. We don't want to, we want the real thing.
Tons of that there. We want Cecil. That's what we want.
Cecil.
Oh, that's awesome.